Okay, let's get this party started. I started the recording. Hi, everybody. Hi, all the new faces. Wave at everybody else. I'm Thomas Garrison. I'm here with my co-host, Arthur Moorhead, who is going to correct me every time I say something wrong. So expect to hear a lot of Arthur today. I've been doing this for, not the streaming, but I've been developing and doing SEO for about 25 years. Arthur's got some good 20 plus years in, excuse me. And we really enjoy helping people. I want everybody to understand that this is a group where we're actually going to not only provide information and not give you generic stuff, we're going to get down to the details, and you can ask questions enough so that you know from point A to point Z what you need to do. So today we're specifically talking about writing content. And I know a lot of people, if not most, have had a real difficult time trying to write the content because it's like, well, where do you start? There is a starting point. There is a process. So we're going to go through that process for you today. Yep, we're up to 25, so that's a good number where we can start get moving. All right. Now, I think I'm going to back up for just a second. Who here does not, and I'll bet you there's a bunch, who here does not have the list of tools that I usually send out in the meetings? 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. All right, so these tools include a lot of the stuff that both Arthur and I use to be able to do whatever particular part of your process that you're working on. So whether it's looking up something or where you go for hosting, all the stuff that's related. And I update it pretty regularly. Arthur and I go over stuff and go, oh, let's add this to the list. Let's add that to the list. So the tools are now in chat, and we have 26 people. So I'm glad I dragged my feet a little bit. And Candy doesn't have it, but you should all see the list in the chat right now. Peter, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just still up asking for that list. I'm looking for it in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, it should be about the 4th up from the bottom right now.
Not seeing it.
You didn't see it? Oh, I know why. Because that Kevin, everybody pick on Kevin. It's his fault. Kevin did it. So I only set it to Kevin, the last person that we need to make sure has that tool list. Don't give it to Kevin. All right. Oh, Arthur did the same thing to me. Hey, don't send me any messages again, anybody.
Weird.
Okay. This time it went to everybody, right? Okay. You all got that list. It's a nice list. And yes, I could go through and format it nicely, but it's just a simple text file with simple information in it. So it's like reference. Don't get all excited about all this different stuff. Read it at your leisure. Use whatever the tools that you find in there. But you'll find as you're going through whatever process that you're specifically working on in the SEO, web development, whatever it is, a lot of those tools are really going to help in whatever you're doing. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is think about the subject. So, and that's where you begin, and you're going to begin with one page at a time. You're not thinking about a big bunch of pages or what's the whole site about. You're going to drill down to one page, and I prefer that all of you start away from your home page. And make sure that that sinks in, because your home page is different. Your home page usually has several subjects on it. That's not a good choice to try to get into the top of the search engines. One page about one subject, so you can optimize that one page. And if you look in any search that you do, the chances of you finding a home page in those links from your search results are pretty slim. Usually when you see a link there, it takes you to a page that is really about the subject that you searched in the search engine. It's not to a home page. Nobody from the search engines ever begins at your home page. It's extremely rare, I'll put it that way. So you want to get your one single page subject. I'm really dragging my feet on that because I want everybody to understand. Don't try to do 2 pages. Don't try to do your home page. One page about one subject. And what if you have a one-page site? Good question, Jessica. That's going to be difficult. And I know that you can do it depending on what type of template that you use. There are these templates that just have a one-page website. Arthur is going to say his point of view, and I'm hoping here, but I'm saying you're pushing a really big rock up a hill. If you expect to get one page, even that one page, because you click and go down, they're not going to several pages, it's going to that one. So that is like a home page because it's got all kinds of information, all kinds of subjects. If that one page of your one page website is all about one specific subject, then that's fine. Now, when I say one subject, I mean, if we're talking about keys, you could talk about cutting a key, you could talk about the types of keys, you could talk about a plastic key head, but you don't want to do that on one page. People are searching for information. When they find the search results, when they find a page at the top of the search results, it's a page that is very much refined about that one subject. So if you are talking about plastic keys, copper keys, key blanks, whatever, those are all 3 different subjects. Putting them on one page, even though the whole page is about keys, it's not. It's about different types of keys. So you can't expect the search engines to say, oh, this is all about this one subject, so let's push that to the top of the search engine because it's better than any other single page. Well, you got to stop right there because it can't be. It's got too much information other than that one subject. Now, I hope I've harped on that hard enough. Yeah, and that's another thing that Arthur was just saying. Good response. That one page website is then the only page you have to offer to the search engines. So let's just say the search engines found this one page website that you have, and it does have really good SEO and really good information on whatever subject it was. That's the only page you get in the search engines. So there's already 2 different reasons to not use a one-page website. And I would bet that if you talk to a mobile device user, they're going to say, yeah, it's a nice idea, but you got to scroll forever. So that's 3 reasons. Do not use a one-page website. And of course, now Jennifer is going to be mad and she's going to say, well, I'm coming after you, or Jessica, and say, wait a second. Well, how am I supposed to break this up now? 5 or 6 pages is fine, James. That's good. That means you've got 5 or 6 different ways or different pages to be able to get into the search engines if they're done well. So you've got 5 chances too of being able to say, I'm going to write my heart's content on this page to try to get it in the search engines. And maybe you did it to 5 of them and only 1 of them made it. Doesn't make any difference. 1 works. Now you can go back and refine the others. Now, Maria, did you have a question that you were going to ask? No? Erase. Okay. All right. So we know that you want to start with one page and one subject. So let's just say that you're all looking James, we're not going to look at a bunch of different sites and talk about specific SEO on that page. What we want to do is concentrate on how to write about that. And then as we get into things, we can come back and, ask, how's that working? But let's see if we can get into this a little bit so that everybody understands what we need to do, the process. So we know one page, one subject. What is the next thing that you want to do? Regardless of your subject, your process is going to be the same. You're going to be looking at different keywords, but that's the second spot. So the second place that you wanted, or step. One subject, one page. Now we're going to look at the keywords for that one page. And before I let that go, Google's making some changes. And I'm going to paraphrase most everything that I know about it. And Arthur's got more specific information. But we see Google with writing on the wall that's saying we're not that concerned with keywords anymore. Don't let that stop you from doing what you need to with keywords. It just means that they're putting more emphasis on the way the content is written, rather than just the keywords. So you can do all the SEO that you want, and that is good. If it's really good SEO, that means that you've written the content well. That's what Google's looking for. It's not just that you have the correct keywords. That's now becoming, from what we understand, a smaller part than how well the text was written. And what's it mean to write the text well? That means it invites the user, it provides really good information to the user. Those are the things that Google's looking for. And this goes back to early 2000s, because that's exactly what everybody was supposed to do back then. They ventured away, and Google's trying to drag it back, I think. Get back to working on the content. Now, I just off the top of my head, I picked keys. Arthur knows why, because it's something I'm working on. But the point is, let's just say the page is about keys. Now I'll share my screen with you where I'm going to start, which has nothing to do with keys. This simple page here. Most people are using WordPress, so I thought, okay, let's just keep it really simple. This page is not about keys. I don't care. We're not worried about that. We're just grabbing a page that has nothing to do with anybody else's stuff to say, let's take a look at this and see what we need to do. So we're going to go into our sample page. And I like using the classic editor. You guys can use whichever one that you wish. But if I said keys, it's not really a great word, but let's just start there. So I've titled the page, retitled the page, keys. So then this means that this page is going to be about keys. So where do we go from there? What kind of keys? Do people search keys? How many people search keys? If you don't know that information, you can't begin to write anything. If you don't do the research, what information you see on this page is as good about writing for keys as it is any other subject, which means it's terrible because the research hasn't been done. Keys is only in my head and it's in the title right now. You have to decide, what's that page going to be about? What's that one subject? Write it down. Don't just start doing the stuff on the page. So the first place that you're going to go, I go, and you can go to a lot of different places. But I'm going to go to the keyword planner in Google. And you should be able to have this in your tools. And so we've decided keys are what we're going to write about on this one page. Now, just for giggles, we're going to say, well, let's just see if enough people are searching for just the single word keys. Oh, maybe they are. So you're going to search. Who's searching what? SEO is an experiment. So you have to start someplace with any experiment. You're going to drip a little bit of this stuff in it, a little bit of that stuff in it, see what that does, and then go from there. In this instance, we're talking about keys. Let's see if we can narrow this down to a type of key. However, is there anybody who would disagree that if they had a single word keyword, that they would use it when it's got 100,000 to 1 million people a month searching it? I'd love to have keywords like that. Now, there's 100,000 to 1 million searching the siesta key. I don't know what that is, so I'm not putting it in my website. The Google Keyword Planner provides a list of options or both examples and alternatives for that's one search, that one word that you searched here in the Keyword Planner. I searched keys, and it's bringing up all these related terms over here on the left column. Anybody not see what I'm doing here? We can see it. Okay, good. In the second column, it's how many people per month have searched that particular term. Now, you can do this through the Keyword Planner or any other way that you know it's as good as what Google has, because there are a lot of keyword search softwares, platforms out there. A lot of them are terrible because they don't provide the correct results. I know Google does because it's coming out of Google. If you have someplace else that you know for a fact is as good as the Google results, then fine, use it. So as you can see also in the second or third row, we're down to 10,000 to 100,000. Why would I use that when I can go from 100,000 to 1 million? So I can say, well, in my page, keys for that one is great. But are we done? No. Next thing that you want to do is, okay, we'll write that down. So we know that we have keys and figure out what else are we going to search, because you want to make sure that you have several terms. And before we get out of the planner, over here is our planner. Now I'm going to go to the search engines and I'm just going to type in that term. And you're going to go, why are you doing that? There's a good reason for everything. And in this situation, I'm going to find a bunch of stuff. I'm going to find out who's at the top of the list for that one keyword term. And I can see that there's a definition for the Merriam-Webster, Wikipedia, key.com, which is the bank key, not really helpful. And I see Florida keys. These are all ads. And for any mobile users, understand that Google made a change recently. You no longer have just 3 ads at the top, you have 4. So that 4th one that you always used to click on, they're banking on that. So be careful, you people who use mobile devices. There's 4 ads at the top for mobile. Now, anyway, you've got these ads up here, and that's fine. If you were selling keys, you'd want to be in this with TriPack. But your generic sites are down underneath all those ads. The ones that you want to see if you can beat a keys definition. Looks like the first one, Alicia Keys is in there. The first actual key site, there's nothing there. Now, I'll tell you why I did this is because this site was in the top of that search. But as we can see today, it's not. So they were there only because they were advertising. Now, I can see also that I'm getting results because Google has refused to acknowledge that I've been saying you may not know where I live. They figured it out and they're giving me key results in my area. And none of them are in the area except for the ads. So anyhow, keys are not necessarily a great term. So even though that many people search for it, what kind of results do they get? You need to make sure that you have an alternative. What types of keys are you using? How about key blanks? Let's search that. Well, that's 1,000 to 10,000. That's a big difference. And then you're going to go back over to the search engine and say, okay, now we're going to search key blanks. How good is that? Well, there's 142 million key blanks. And that's in Amazon, Lowe's. Here's the guy, key blanks, he's changed it. So, okay, now he knows he's got some competition coming out. Key blanks. And yet, that's not very good in the search engine. So that's one to use because that is what the competition is using. And we'll even put the competition in here. Now, this is all part of the search. In your tools, you will find information about ranks.nl. Again, if you have somewhere else that you can do what I'm going to do here, that's fine. So we're going to take this domain name. We're going to drop it in here because we're going to look at this particular website, look at the optimization that's been done. You should be asking yourself, wait, isn't that cheating? Nope. This website is going to look at the competition and tell us the SEO on that page. And we're going to find out everything about the competition. In this box right here, you'll see that it's a slider, so it will start on its own eventually, but it's giving you information about what you could do to improve your SEO. So key blanks, e-key blanks, automotive key are suggestions that this particular site that ranks is saying that particular website should have. Now, and of course it does. We estimate that it'll bring 204 visits per month from Google based on the rankings. Great. Now also you should have key blank, blank keys, blank key. Don't look past that stuff. In this search, scroll down to where you see, hopefully I didn't pass it already. Anybody see any past related searches? That's awful far down in Google for not having it already. Well, people also ask, what does a key blank do? Writing questions that people search is primary for your site. So write the question in there. Okay, so if I go over here to my page, and what's the question again? What does a key blank do? Why did I write that? Anybody know? In case anybody's looking at me staring over to my right sides, because that's where everybody I see is on screen. Bonnie, you have a question?
Does it do? It's mimicking the question of the searcher.
Correct. Google likes that. If you put that question in your page and you explain why or what does a key blank do, that's helpful. That's what Google's looking for. So look at those questions on the page. And if you don't see questions, which is what I was looking for before, is the related searches. And I was so surprised, I didn't see related searches. Images. Thoughts on this, Arthur? Could just be down really far. I have seen some like that.
But Google's been making changes, and now you don't have page 1, page 2, page 3. You know, you used to be at the bottom of page 1, you'd see also search for, but since they're changing the format, now it's just a continuous scroll.
Well, I get that, but even in the mid scroll, you know, it would go down maybe what used to be 10 on a page, it still scrolls past that, but usually around that 10th spot, there's related searches.
Well,
But
it
I'm
has to
not
do
seeing
with,
it at all in here.
it has to do with the intent too. I mean, if you're doing a search for information, you know, then you're gonna see those also search for. But being that you're searching for key blanks, it looks like you're looking to purchase. So it's gonna give you store products.
And I like the questions though. The questions that you have on a page, you can ask all of them. Does Home Depot do key copies? Oh, let's ask that one too. Oh, key copies. That's a good question. I don't know. But it would take you like 2 minutes to search and see if your local Home Depot does. And that's the same thing that you're going to do. It's like you're doing it one step at a time. What's the related stuff? What keyword term do I need? You've got to do the research. And you've seen, we've spent this much time, and I haven't typed any words other than what related terms and questions to my subject. It takes a tremendous amount of time to research before you start writing content. If you simply say, I already know what this page is about, blah, 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 you're going to have to go back and either write it again or several times. Do the research, because if you write something on the page and say, I'm done, I put it in, it's perfection, and then it sits there for several weeks, Google might look at it and go, that's horrible. So you go into the bottom of the barrel. Now you have to work your way back from the bottom of the barrel. So don't put content in the page if you haven't done the research. I'm betting a lot of you are trying to go, well, I've already got content, so now I got to rewrite. Yep. Before you touch the content you have, do this research, exactly what I'm doing right now. It's going to take time. It's not something that somebody can just go, oh, okay, it's there. What you know about the subject on your page is not necessarily what users will search. So if you use terms that you know relate really well to whatever you do, that's not necessarily what people search. I just learned the other day what live edge tables are. Anybody in this group right now know what a live edge table is? Arthur can't vote.
That's a craft that goes back years.
Yeah, you can't tell. I figured that you would know. I have no idea. I had no idea. I do what I do now, but it was difficult because I did a search for live edge. There's live edge table. It's that raw wood looking, like you go out and you grab a piece of huge driftwood and you make a beautiful table out of it. That's a live edge table. I had no idea that's what they call it. I just thought it was a wood table. So I would search wood table. That's why you have to do the research. How many people are searching live edge table as compared to someone who's just searching wood table or wood coffee table? That's why you need to do the research. What you know about your subject and what other people know about your subject are completely different. And it's not a matter of you know everything. You have to make sure that you're reaching the audience who does not know your subject. So learn what they do by researching your keywords. And I can even do that here, just for the heck of it. Let's try that and see what happens. 100 to 1,000. Now, if I change that, let's see what that result gives us. 10,000 to 100,000. So I'm not alone. There's not that many people. I'll guarantee a lot of people are looking for those kinds of tables. But apparently only 10,000 to 100,000 in the entire country are searching that particular term. So if you were selling live edge tables, would you use that term? The answer is yes. You don't even have to wait for me to respond, because that describes what the table is. But now it's up to you to use a related term. Hopefully. I did this the other day. Yeah, here we go. Related searches. Bang. Look at these related searches. Google has been trying to slap us upside the head going, hey, people are also searching these for exactly what you have. So use these related searches in your content. So if you're selling live edge tables, don't just write live edge table, write all about live edge tables. It's writing about live edge tabletop, live edge dining tables, live edge dining table for 4, live edge wood. And then also have wood tables, wood coffee tables, because they're still related to the live edge. The live edge needs to be there because it's specific, but you also need to have what people search. Combining that information means that you're covering all your bases. Arthur, is there anything I need to address in this chat? I see there's quite a few in there. Where you got that
I'm
covered?
watching.
And I know that keys, so we're going to go back to keys so I don't confuse everybody. When we have this, we've got several different specific keys, but I'd say we're about, because if you're, this particular site that I'm selling is about key blanks. So are that many people? 1,000 to 10,000 a month. That's not very many. So I would keep trying. What else about keys? What else can I say? What else? What other kind of search can I do to look for live key blanks? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This could take days, because I'm sitting here right now and you've seen me. I've only done a few searches, and yet I'm not happy with anything other than keys. Keys is just bad. It's not really what you should be doing. Let's go back and look at our key blank top of the search engine competitor. Now, he switched to key blanks. He did used to have just keys, and he's got key over here and keys, but he's got less prominence of that. So he's changed. I know because I've got a PDF saved from about a month ago when I searched this. But key blanks, 952 times in the one page? I think not. Just to show you that result, let's go back there. And here's a wholesale supplier, but he's down below these others. Why, you might ask? Why isn't he in the top? Because he's doing what he's doing, and he's done his homework? Yeah, no. Because his density is 41.21%. Now, at the top of this conversation, I said, be careful now. I know that Google's making some changes. We're concerned that Google may not be as concerned with keywords as they have been, which means that if you're overdoing it in density on keywords, chances are Google's really going to say, no, thank you. And I do know for a fact that this site has moved down from the top position. So I'm seeing the writing on the wall already that Google is already making steps to put this into action. I'll stop for just a second here. Omari, you had a question, go ahead.
Yes, are keywords the same as meta tags?
Well, the meta tag is a specific area where you would put keyword terms. Today, not very many templates allow that. I mean, they because Google said we don't care about keywords being in the page anymore, as far as in the meta tag. They do want it in the text, in the content. So in fact, let me show you here.
Yeah, because what is the meta tag?
Okay. It's
But
gobbledygook code. Nobody,
Meta-
most people other than Arthur and I know how to read this stuff. But just because you're asking, it is part of this gobbledygook. And you've got your the website. This is using Yoast, but here is the content, which is just the title of the page. And keyword testing is the actual title content. Example is different from a blog post, blah, 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 has nothing to do with keys. That needs to be changed. These are all in your meta tags. Now, you have specific meta tags, and today for WordPress, I don't know anyone in specific Arthur might, if there is a template that still has the field where you put in keyword tags. Joomla does. It's built into the platform. But the meta property is this stuff. And you're going to go, you're not going to write any of these. It's done with either a plugin, and all you do is put in the information, the text that's supposed to be there, and then the plugin does the rest of the work for you. In this case, Yoast is doing it. Arthur, do you know of any template that still allows for keyword terms in the meta tag?
I'm posting a link.
Oh, okay.
SEMrush has got an article on explains beginner's guide to meta tags for SEO.
Okay.
That'll pretty much explain everything, what they are.
Okay.
Trying to explain what actual meta tag is.
Yeah.
There's several meta tags.
Yep.
And you have specific tags for different things. You got descriptions, you got keywords, you got titles. I mean, there's several of them, but the meta is just what the browsers read.
Yeah, the browser is just reading a particular tag called meta property, and then each one of them has something different in it. And those are created by your template or by the SEO plugin that you're using. And of course, this is referring to WordPress. Anybody does not use WordPress, let me know. So you should never have to deal with or create a meta tag. And each one of them will have a different name. Here's your description. The meta tag description has the word description in it. If it was a meta tag for keywords, it would say meta tag property equals, and then you would see keywords in there. Title is always title of the page. So you want to work from inside. And of course, you can go to your SEO plugin, Yoast, or whatever you have, and create all your settings. But in the pages, you'll see Yoast pop up. And not available, readability needs improvement, so it's telling you, Yoast is following you around with every page that you're in and going to address. And here you can see that focus on the keyword. They call it a key phrase. What's the key phrase used on this page? I haven't put one in there, so it's telling me this page is terrible. Yes, I know that, because this is just for learning experience. Get a base burner, start with horrible stuff so you see what you need to do to change it. Now, here's your meta description, also created by Yoast, so you can put whatever description that you wish into the page. If we save that, we're gonna go over here and refresh this. And let's see if we can find. Didn't come out. That's all right. But the idea is that you work in the back end on the plugins and stuff and put the necessary information in there. So you don't have to worry about trying to create a meta tag for anything. Okay, so we've gone through the fact that you need to research on your keyword terms before you write any content. We've also gone to the point where we want to look at the questions that are asked when you do a search for a particular keyword term that's related to what you have. You also want to see if you can get specific keyword or searches, related searches, which we had when we did the live edge table. So when you see the related searches, write those down. They're what other people search. That's why they are there. And the more terms that you put in your content that are related to the subject on that page, Google likes that. Those related terms, those related searches are what other people search to find what you have. They're not saying, if you're selling tables, we also have some related searches on cars. You're never going to see that. This is related searches to exactly what your term was. It's similar, but not the same as when you search the keyword and you start going down through the list and go, oh, okay, what else is here? What are the related terms? So, I mean, here's one that's Schlag key blanks. That's a particular brand. If you carry those, you would put that in your text. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. So let's see if I can move forward. Because you want to make sure that you keep your search and you get all the information you can. I've shown you ranks and how to look at the competition. Now I'm going to show you. Let's go here. And we're going to see using ranks. We'll go back to this page and we'll put in a different one, which is the page on which I'm working and showing you as an example. So here it is. And our keywords on this page are terrible. The SEO is terrible. That's not the point of this today. This is, let me see what you have, see how to look at my page and see what to do about it. Okay, so if you wanted to see I don't even know if I spelled Schlag right. Don't write short sentences. I'm trying to think of just garbage to write here. This would even be what I'd say is a short sentence. But it's not bad. Still not quite, I saw that, where'd that go? Schlag, Schlage. Yep, it is spelled correctly. All right, so we can update that, but just to show you what you can do here in ranks. Now, in ranks, it's not just showing you what's there now, and then you have to come back later to see what you've just done. Need to move this bar from Zoom out of the way. Everybody see where my mouse is right here? Okay, click on that double arrow and it's going to refresh the page. Okay, did I help it? Let's see what we've got here. And I can see that it's going through the information. And that's where you're going to see when you got more things. You got the hello world. Not sure why that's still showing here. But at any rate, when you refresh the page, that is going to show you what you've just updated. So if you've got a term that you just added, put it in. Got key, world, images, testing, keys. So it's looking for more, but that's okay. You want to check everything that you're doing as you're doing it, so you can see whether it's going to be valuable. The whole point is to put this information in. How about key blanks? Did I show key blanks? It's not picking up key phrases. When you added some more content, go over here and refresh the page so you can see the new results. And then you'll say, okay, I'm on the right road. And of course, like I said, it's an experiment, but you're going to use the competition also. You can open a second window and go to ranks. So I'll move this window over. And you can literally compare your page to the competition, because I've now got, let's just say, the competition in this page and my stuff over here. So you can watch what you're doing, comparing it to the competition the entire time. All this is before you've even written anything. So investigation, research is a huge part of SEO. If you are frustrated and want to do it fast, it's going to be bad. Make sure you just slow down and say, this is going to be time consuming, and just go with that flow. Follow the process. Questions. I've thrown a lot of information at you guys today, but I'm hoping that this particular process is in there. Any questions from anybody? Bonnie, you look like you're in outer space.
I'm a little tired.
Okay. Kevin, I know that you're having a heck of a time with yours. Any questions on this?
We're
Okay.
getting questions about how you're interpreting. the
Okay, hang
results.
on just a second. Okay, Sandy, that was one of your questions? Okay, interpreting what?
Oh, sorry. How, if you go back to that ranks NL page, how are you interpreting? First you said that was you looked at that page and you said it was terrible SEO, but also, like, I don't know how you're interpreting the data on this
Okay,
page.
when you're using ranks, you see this wheel up here and it's telling you the prominence of any specific keyword term. which means keys is the most prominent on the page. Then we've got meetings, WordPress, search, all these other things that I have not changed on the page that need to be changed because they have nothing to do with keys. Hello world has nothing to do with keys. Privacy policy, nothing to do with keys. So that kind of stuff I want to take out of the page and make sure it's got something relevant to keys in the page. Then we're looking, and I'm going to use that competitor site here, because it will make a lot more sense when you see.
So is that about making sure that those terms are included more like more times on the page?
Right.
Yes. That's
Okay.
correct. So we're looking at when you see a keyword term, and in this guy's page, key blanks is most prominent. And you can see it in blanks up at the top, key blanks, because it's larger font and bolder, but in the wheel, it's obviously the boldest thing is key blanks. So when you look at how many times is it repeated in the page, we can go to key blanks right here, which is a 2 phrase. You've got single words, 2 phrases, and as you scroll down, you can get into 3, 4, and 5 keyword phrases. So there's phrases 3 words, and right on down the list. 4 words, and I believe it goes up to 5. The point is, when you're looking at those, you're looking at the number here is going to tell you it's repeated 952 times on that one page. That's way too much. It's in the, hold your mouse over the different letters that you see, and this one is for the title. So it's once in the title. Then the A is in the anchor text at least once. It's also in the image alt tag at least once. It's in the list element, which means you've got a list of stuff with the bullet points. It's in the keyword is there also. And then it's also in the stemmed format, which means instead of key blanks plural, there's also key blank. And then you've got the description, meaning that that keyword term is in the description for that page. So does that make sense? You go through each one, hold your mouse over it, and it tells you what is that. And it says this is a title, and it occurs there. That's where the keyword appears.
Okay.
Overall, it's repeated 952 times in the page, which is 41.21% density of the total content.
Mm.
There's an algorithm or a mathematical equation to figure it out, but you can go to a keyword density site. I believe I've got 1 or 2 in the tools, and look at what is your keyword density. This last column is prominence, which means how close to the beginning of a sentence is that keyword term. The more, or let me say that differently, the closer you put your keyword term to the beginning of a sentence and to the beginning of a paragraph, the higher the prominence for that keyword term. The higher prominence you have for that keyword term, the more the search engines pay attention. If you put it at the end of your sentences or at the end of the page, you're telling the search engines it's not really an important keyword term. And yet that's the opposite of what you're trying to tell them. So be careful with that. Make sure it's repeated no more than 3% density. And you can see this guy is way out of line.
And why is the higher density bad?
Higher than 3% is bad,
Yeah, why?
because there is not enough text on the page to support it being repeated that many times, which means it looks like you're just stuffing that keyword term in the page. And that's what angers the search engines. Because if it's, let me give you an example of stuffing keywords. I sell keyword blanks, and the keyword blanks that I sell are really keyword blanks, and they're best keyword blanks that you're ever going to find anywhere. Keyword blanks are just the best. That's one sentence. Do you talk like that? When you're talking to someone, do you ever talk like that? And don't do it in your copy on your website. They're looking, especially Google, but all the search engines are looking for natural communication, natural conversational text.
Yeah, Jay makes a good point, you know, the reason why that keyword density is so high on that is because it's a products page. And in the products page, that particular keyword is gonna be repeated like
Mhm.
that. So, I mean, even though it's at 41%, it's not good for, say, blog post or article content. But for a store or e-commerce kind of site,
Mhm.
that actually it's almost normal. You know,
It's
because
pretty common.
expected. Yeah,
It is pretty common. So the search engines will also look at that, but for our purposes, because unless you guys, if there's somebody here who is selling a product and it's a e-commerce site that has a tremendous amount of products, then yeah, there's a chance that you will have a page somewhere that has that many repeats. So I'm using this as a purpose of saying, don't go that much. There's a reason that this particular site has it that many times, but your website is not going to have that reason.
right.
Even if it's about wood tables, you're not going to repeat it that many times. You're not you might have 20 or 30 different tables, which is a lot for one live edge table to have. But in the key search, they have literally thousands upon thousands. So there's a big difference between what you're doing with your website and what an e-commerce site is doing. I hope that explains it.
Yeah, yeah, generally 3% is high. So if you have a 1,000 words on your website, the general rule is no more than 2%. So if you have 1,000 words, no more than 20 times. You know, even 20 times is a bit excessive, you know, but if you start getting into 100 times out of 1,000 words, then you're basically keyword stuffing is what you're doing. And you could get penalized for that, so.
Yep.
You know,
Kevin, you had a question. Did you get it answered or?
Yeah, it was actually about the density and what level do you want to keep it at? So you finally got there, my friend.
Yeah, under 3.
But you know, okay, we've talked about my website before. So if I want to start making changes, you're saying in this case, I'm going to probably start with a new page.
Maybe it really depends on the page. And the biggest point, which been stressing today, and what I've tried to really stress with you specifically, is research first. Because before you change anything, I think we already figured out there's at least one page that's getting some good traffic. So you want to be careful to not touch that and disturb the SEO on that page. But other pages, research to find what keyword terms are people searching to find what's on this page. How many people? What are the related search terms? All of that needs to be done before you decide, okay, I'm going to start writing.
Okay, my friend.
Any other questions? I think I just overloaded everybody, Arthur. I see a lot of faces that are just kind of blank. Kind of like, well, that was a lot of information. Now, what am I supposed to do with that? Sue Ellen. Let me see if I can click the button here for you. Go ahead. Yee, I'll get you in just a second. Put your hand up and I'll answer that again. Sue Ellen, go ahead.
Does this keyword content count include things like your header and footer, or is it just the page content in WordPress?
If there's text on the page, it counts.
So
Period.
the footer, so if you just have the name of the business or a keyword in your footer, again, that's going to be part of the count.
Yep.
Okay,
And the keyword terms are also in the meta description. So
right,
counts. Sorry, Arthur, what was that?
okay,
Yeah, the content itself, like in a blog post, you're going to have, 1.5 to 2% within that. Now, anything outside of that, will also be counted. So you have to take that into the mix of things, but
okay,
the thing is, when you're counting the keywords, you use it in derivatives, you don't just use that same exact keyword like key blanks. You don't use that 20 times throughout the whole article. You could put Schleg key blanks, metal key blanks, it could be in phrases too. So I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't mean it has to be an exact match.
Yeah, using those
Okay.
related terms will allow you to use the term more times. But in its whole, it doesn't appear that many times on the page. So you don't get caught for stuffing it.
okay.
Okay, let's see. Yee, go right ahead.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you. This is very helpful. So I'm a psychotherapist. My understanding after listening to you today is, say, if I want to rank high on couples therapy in Berkeley, I will Google myself, Google couples therapy in Berkeley and see what the Google come out, what other people are searches, the related searches, and also what other questions people are asking. And I will put them on my page and repeat as many times as possible, but naturally. So I'm giving information and good content. So Google likes that. And then the ranks NL thing is for you to check after I do that, how's it going?
After you check with ranks, what was the question?
Oh, so my question is the rank NL is for me to check after I inserted those new content, how am I doing? Is it to the point? And even not, I just keep repeating the process until it gets there.
Yes. And you're repeating the process to be able to refine it. But let's just say you did all that stuff, you did the investigation and you rewrote it based on everything that we've talked about. Then you go to ranks to look and see, I want to see right now what the search engines are seeing. And that's what this page is telling you. They're going to see how many times the keyword is there, what keywords are in the page, which ones are prominent, suggestions for keyword terms, and you can slide through this thing and find other ones. International key supply. So it's a wealth of knowledge to be able to get this from ranks. And then when you see, well, it looks good, I haven't been stuffed. I see that I'm no more than 3% on anything, 2.5 would be great.
Okay.
So that percentage is great on all my keywords. The prominence is, 60 is like on the low side. You can get them into the 70s and 80s, really good. And make sure that that text sounds like it's very conversational, just like you'd be talking to somebody, like I'm talking to you now.
Right, great. So so I just want to clarify, when you see the density, you wanted to enter 3%, but more than 2%?
Yeah, you can go 2.8 something. You can even hit 3 if you've written that text and you just can't think of a word to change and you end up right at 3, you're at the top end, but you could also add some other text to drop it down.
Or say where I can repeat it in a different way, say couples therapy, couples counseling, marital counseling, just all those keywords, just kind of all put in there.
Yep.
Replace each of them to make it like
the 3% is for one keyword term. So if you've got several different keyword terms and none of them are reaching over 3, that's fine. And if you're really close to 3 on something, add some more text that doesn't include any keywords.
Got you.
So
yeah, so it's like a modulation.
Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we go? Amari, you look like you're really studying. I want everybody to leave thinking, I got it. Now I know what to do. Yes.
Can I use a blog for a page?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Simple. I can't think of any reason why you would not. Depends on what the blog's about. It's all on how you optimize it to get the traffic that you want. Any other questions? This has been one of those days where I've seen a lot of heads down, writing, and that's good. There's a lot of stuff in here. And we do go over a lot of these subjects more than once in a year, but I know that this particular subject is one that everybody has a difficult time. Victoria, you have a question. Go right ahead.
Yes, I saw Arthur put in the chat with about Google Trends.
Mhm.
So I was just wondering, is that function the same as the keyword planner? So I noticed in the chat that like you have to have the Google Ads account to get the keyword planner. So
No, stop. You do not need to pay for or do anything or have anything to get into the stuff, whatever stuff for Google. But you do need to create different accounts depending on what you're trying to get into. Does that make sense?
yes, it makes sense.
You don't have to pay for it, but if you get into the planner, you have to create an account for the planner. You can use the same username and the same password that you use for the other parts of Google.
Okay, yeah, that part I get. I'm just wondering, like, what's the difference between the
And-
Google Trends and the keyword planner?
And the keyword planner is telling you, here are what people search. The trends are these searches, here are the trends for those searches. And in the keyword planner, which I will show you if I get my mouse over here, the results also show you the trends here because like this one right here, can you see that it's got the KW1 key is plus 900%?
Yes.
See where my mouse is on the page?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means it has gone up 900% in the last 3 months. And in a year-over-year change, it's up 900%. So apparently KW1 key is searched a lot more than it ever used to be. That's what that's telling you. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
So trends are what are keywords doing? Keyword planner is what are people searching?
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's kind of like the difference between what dresses are trending right now or who's wearing this particular dress. So there are two different types of search, two different bits of information. They do have some overlap though. You had another question?
No, I think I just had that hands up.
Oh, okay. Kevin, you've got another question. Go ahead.
Okay, I sent you something in the chat, my friend.
Oh, you know what? It's the first time today that I've looked in the chat. It's been that busy.
You mean all my previous comments went unheard?
They were all from Arthur taking a look at stuff. He usually does a really good job with the chat, so I kind of leave that alone, especially if I got a lot to get out. So it's showing that you went here. So if I grab that, let me ask you this, Kevin,
Yes, sir.
and that just came up. Are you paying for ranks?
No,
Then how many times have you tried to search per month?
not even one a month. I rarely go there.
Interesting. I'd have to dig into that further, but you have, I think the free plan is, if I can go back over to the front end. free plan, one domain, up to 10 queries a month, up to 10 queries a day. It's only the page analyzer. So it's a basic analyzing, which is this screen. It's the most important one, but
Yeah, for some reason, I've never been able to actually get in there. You can get in there and see my stuff, great, but I can't.
well, we'll get on Zoom and I'll watch you do it and see what's going on. See
Thank
if
you,
we
sir.
figure it out. Any other questions from anybody? You guys all have your homework and you're ready to go, right?
Too much homework.
Yeah, there was a lot of information, but I believe that everybody really did well on absorbing, I think. Thanks, Julie. You're very welcome. And I think a lot of people have left because it was overwhelming, but they had other things they had to do. So oh, Jay, you have a question, sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for all the information. It's really been very helpful. I'm curious if it's worthwhile for a service business to put in any terms like value, friendly service, helpful, local, or any other things that aren't directly related to your product or your industry, but that I guess only if they were in related keywords or related questions would they maybe drive more traffic. Is that
Well, maybe, but what I would suggest first is follow along with the bouncing ball, like I showed you today. You're going to the keyword planner and seeing what they show. Then you're going to do an actual search for that term.
Mhm.
And you will see either related searches or questions that people ask about that particular term.
I see.
So those would be the ones that you would want to use. And a lot of times you're going to say, yeah, but I know this one particular term is really relevant. Yes, it might be. But as I was saying before, just because you know a term is relevant doesn't mean that's what people search.
So I guess it's just like
Reason-
if you're running a business like
Mhm.
a plumbing service, maybe people don't put in friendly plumber in my area, but if you're running
Right.
like a elder care type service in home, then maybe people would put in trustworthy elder care or
You
something.
hit on a good one. If you're a plumber and you did not include great plumbers for the elderly, or we service something about the elderly, you get where I'm
Fair
going.
prices
And
or
that's
something like
something that you wouldn't think people would search, but I'll guarantee you there's some elderly people going, are there any elderly plumbers?
Yeah.
So they're looking for somebody that they know that they've got their little quirks and they want somebody who's going to work with them because of those quirks. So yeah, that's why you do the research, because if you're doing an actual search for your term and you look at related searches, maybe the one that you thought was so good isn't listed there. Maybe it's not even in the questions. You can still use it, but use the ones that Google is telling you people also search these. Does that make sense? James likes my shirt. You should see the rest of it. Anything else? Any other questions? All right, then I will. Oh, James already knows what the rest says. Yeah. Okay. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'll sign off for this week and we'll see you next week. See you next time. Bye, folks. Thanks for showing.